I was facilitating a meeting a few years ago with a pretty large team. And we were asking questions about what's going on inside the company and walking really through the process of locating reality to the best of our ability. And this bubbling caused a conversation to emerge that became tension filled. Maybe you could even call it a bit of an argument, where people were pursuing solving a problem, but they were doing it from different points of view. And so there was all these different solutions being thrown around, many of which were great and good, and they weren't wrong solutions. But yet there was still tension in the room, and there was still an argument going on. It was a sophisticated and polite argument, but it was an argument. And after about 30 minutes of watching this unfold, I asked a question. And I said, "What problem are we trying to solve?" And they all turned and looked at me and realized they weren't quite sure. And they certainly didn't agree. They didn't necessarily all have the same problem statement. And so they were presenting solutions to different problems. And to a large degree, they didn't even know what the problem was. This is how a lot of us move through our business life. We sit in meetings and in conference and in conversations, and we start dialoguing about solutions. And then those dialogues turn into conflict. And what we need to do often is stop and actually make sure we're asking the right question. Lots of what we're trying to do when we're trying to solve problems, and you'll see this on resumes. I'm a problem solver, or people will describe themselves as a problem solver. And that's fine. Solving problems is great. And there are problems that need solving. But I'd really like to get a resume someday that says, I'm really, really good at working to identify the right problem to solve. Because that is a lot harder to do. That takes time and listening and curiosity. It takes lowering my ego and my need to be right, pushing that to the peripheral of my vision so that I can actually see what's going on. And then it takes collaboration and a collective conversation where we can work together to figure out what is the problem, or maybe the hierarchy of problems, and what's the one we're going to solve first, and then go to solutions. Often what you find is when you get the right question or you get the right problem statement, solutions become relatively self-evident. Not always, but often. And there's no real need to argue about it because we agree about the problem. It seems to me that we are, as humans, often really committed to finding answers. We really want answers, and solutions are answers. But often, we're not asking the right question. And I would suggest that answers are byproducts to questions, and that what we really need to spend our time on is making sure we're asking the right question. So when you find yourself in a situation where you have a repeating conversation, a repeating problem, and the solutions that you keep throwing at it aren't resolving it, I'd suggest you're probably not asking the right question, or we don't agree about what the right problem to solve is.